And we're back in the podcast studio with Austin Hooper. And Austin, you and I were talking before we started rolling. I really do think that the league does such a good job with the My Cause My Cleats initiative. We see it every single season, giving you guys an opportunity to kind of not only share a little bit about who you are as individuals, but stuff that's really important to you. So we have two pairs of cleats here. And question one, which ones are actually going to be the game day cleats?
I'm probably going to go with these ones right here.
Okay.
But the guy who does it, Jonathan, he's a beast. He sent me a couple. I sent a couple to him just in case something happens with the paint or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or if he doesn't like something, or when the cleat bottoms isn't quite right.
Yeah, where it needs to be.
Yeah, these aren't right out the box.
Yeah.
These have about a good 20, 30 games on them. So in case
really?
something
Interesting.
happens.
So these are game cleats that you've worn before, and then you just send out to say, hey, do your thing?
Yeah. I wasn't going to send like a brand new pair out of the box. I want to be broken in a little bit. Because I've done that in the past with brand new cleats. And with this paint, you can't really practice with it a lot because if you get a couple, cleat marks on it or something, like most of the paint comes off. So you kind of got to just wait till game day for these. So you got to be in something that you've been in and feel comfortable with before. So I think probably tomorrow I'll practice in those.
Nice. So just, share with us, Austin Hooper Foundation, that we have on both sides, or on both cleats here. Kind of where did this idea come from? Why is it important to you? And kind of what's the goal and the mission that you kind of want to get out there?
Sure. So in 2020, I started the Austin Hooper Foundation. We partner up with local charities with a special focus on those aging out of the system, because depending on the state which you're in, they give you a few $100 and a GED and say, go play life. So that's a rough hand of cards, no matter how you break it down. And in my opinion, it's just very underserved, and I look around and I see so many wonderful charities for cats and dogs and other things, but I was just looking around, I'm like, we have so many young Americans that are going hungry, that don't really have a place to stay, that don't have access to as much technology we need in this information age. So what I try to do with my foundation is supply them with electronics, clothes, just the basic tools to just try to give them what I can do to help them move forward.
And you and I were talking our way up here. My brother's a product of the foster care system, and thankfully one of the I don't want to say few, but one of the lucky ones that had had a great experience, and now part of a loving, happy family and all that. But I think that you bring up a great point where sometimes we think about, or we forget to think about, the folks that are aging out of that system, right?
Sure.
And the fact that there's so many, and I'll be on the soapbox all day. There's so many babies that need to be adopted in this country, but you forget about the kids that are 7 and are 8. To your point, that are in high school and now get thrown out into the world with a GED and a couple $100 and say, all right, brother, go
Good
figure
luck.
it out. Yeah, best of luck. So I think that bringing awareness to especially that group of people, the older group of kids that are going to have to be adults at 18, I think is a really important thing to do.
Yeah, so it's awesome to be able to set up events for these young men and women and be able to talk to them, mentor them a little bit, just be a resource for them. Like I keep in contact with one young man in particular, Jalen King. It's my boy. I hope you see this. But yeah, he'll call me sometimes. We'll just talk. He's playing basketball. I just try to be like a mentor when I can and provide when I can.
So was there like a moment for you or something that you read or you saw that you're like, okay, this is something that I really want to put my time, my resources, and kind of my sweat equity into?
Yeah, it actually happened over COVID. So I started off in Atlanta, then I went to Cleveland. I always wanted to do more things philanthropic, but luckily once I signed my second deal, I was in a position, fortunately enough, where I could actually affect change. When growing up, my family did a lot of different charity works, whether it was handing out toys, Thanksgiving food drive, this or that. So something that was always within me and something I was raised with. So during the pandemic, something I created, and then I started it up in Cleveland and then followed it in Nashville last year, and here I am. I actually got an event tonight here in Vegas. So whatever city I'm in, I always try to partner up with the local partnerships out here that do a great job for the young people in the community.
Something I think that we forget about a lot too, where not only you, but obviously a lot of guys, they go to different stops. Like you have different stops on the journeys. You're with different teams, and I think that one thing that I think our organization does a really good job of is getting you guys in touch with the folks so you can kind of affect change, right?
Absolutely.
Because to your point, right, you have your deal in Cleveland, but then you wake up one day and hey, I don't live in Cleveland anymore.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta go.
how do I keep kind of, doing what's important to me and
Sure.
holding my heart dear? So I think that, continuing that regardless of geography is a really, really cool deal that a lot of you guys do.
Yeah, certainly. There's a bunch of us talking in the locker room. I mean, it's so, fast going on throughout the day, ball, 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 ball. But when you have a few minutes here or there, you actually get to talk to your teammates and say, like, hey, what are your passions away from the game? Whether it be business, whether it be philanthropic work, just getting to understand your teammates on a little deeper level and realizing a lot of guys have such, wonderful foundations, wonderful philanthropic partnerships, this and that. Down the locker room, talk to you have no idea. So it's awesome to know that this locker room especially has a lot of guys that think in that way.
I think that's one of the coolest parts of this whole initiative each year is when we see the full list, which you can see on Raiders.com, by the way, shameless plug, of guys, exactly, of guys that, you see just the vast array of things that are close to people's heart, right? Whether it's, Alzheimer's or youth awareness or education or cancer research, or whatever it is. And I think that one of the best parts about this whole initiative is that you get to see kind of an added layer to your favorite player that you go see on Sundays. And I imagine for you guys in that locker room, it must be pretty unique and rewarding and fun for you to kind of learn a little bit more about your teammates and to your point, figure out like, okay, what are you into outside of scoring touchdowns on Sunday? Yeah,
certainly. And, we'll talk about stuff, family, friends, significant other, blah, 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 blah. But especially this week, see everyone with their cleats. You're like, hey, man, what's that about? Give me the rundown, this and that. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. Look around and be like, oh, wow, like, Jerry, what's that? Like, Hawaii Foundation, tell me more. And just all throughout the locker room. So it's awesome. Like this is my fourth team, but see the amount of guys, especially in this locker room, that are really committed to do that, I thought was impressive because I've been, different places. So seeing so many guys all in on that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, an organizational thing too, right?
Yeah,
It starts from the top down. So really, really cool to see everyone kind of involved and kind of in their element and being able to share a little bit more about themselves. And like I said, something that I think the league does a really good job top to bottom at. But shifting ahead now, looking towards Sunday, I'm kind of just curious for a player, for you guys now coming off of the bye, does anything change this week coming off of bye now, knowing you've had a few days to kind of rest, recover, and get back into the zone at all? Or is it just business as usual now as we march down these final 5 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the late bye week is a blessing and a curse. Because if you include training camp and everything, you put your head down for 18 weeks.
Yeah.
And I thought everyone's been fighting hard, playing hard. But physically, you could see towards the end, like guys were banged up. It's natural, right?
Yeah.
So having that bye week was awesome, especially at this point in the year, just when your body's starting to run out a little bit of gas. Get that late bye week to kind of recharge, and you could see today, like guys were flying around and getting back into it. So we really needed that. And to answer your question, yeah, it's business as usual. That's what we all love about AP. AP remains the same person each and every day, keeps us all focused on the same mission, and that was a message, just like back to business. Let's get out there, let's play fast, let's be us.
Yeah, and I think that, if for this fan base, having a chance to see you guys now back-to-back home games at Allegiant Stadium, we got 2 games in 5 days, right? Because you go Sunday and then Thursday night. Will be a lot of fun for the fans. But man, awesome. Before we get out of here, just one more time, where can the people kind of learn more about your foundation, get involved in some type of way?
Yeah, just Google Austin Hooper Foundation, first link that pops up. Click it, and boom, you're on my foundation page. You can learn a lot more about it. I encourage everyone out there to take a look at not just mine, but everyone else's, all their philanthropic pursuits, because a lot of guys in this locker room do a lot of great things for a lot of people outside of their own immediate self. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. Very well said. And like I said, you can check the full list out on Raiders.com, and in the coming days, we're going to have the full gallery of everyone's cleats, some really cool videos showcasing not only the cleats, but like we talked about, some of everyone's initiatives and what's really important to them. So best of luck, Mr. Hooper, on Sunday. It was nice to finally get you in the studio. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?
Thanks for having me. Go Raiders.